Alright people, so somebody asked me to do this video. Um, wanted me to act like I was a GM of the company and give out my, who I would think was champs, who would my champs would be as a GM. I don't really get that because a GM doesn't really decide who the champion is, the creative team does and Vince does. But nonetheless, I will do it. I guess I'm a GM and a creative guy. I mean, the GM doesn't really have any power in the making of the show. I don't believe. I think it's mostly just a creative team. So, but I will nonetheless do it. But anyway, let's go over the WWE WWE World. First off, I would split the belts back into two belts with so much talent that you have on the roster, with the talent you have on the roster, and the amount of content. With 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, an hour main event that you put out every week, you should have two main belts, alright? You have enough star power, enough time on TV, you have two main belts. But keep the brands, you could have two main belts, but don't really have a brand extension. Just have one whole brand, don't have a Raw and a SmackDown. I think it's stupid to keep them separate. But World Heavyweight WWE Champion, and I would probably name it the WWE Undisputed Championship, because that's a more badass name than just the WWE Championship. And WWE Undisputed Championship reminds you of the Attitude Era, and I think it's a kind of a cooler name for the belt. I don't know, it's just my opinion. But I would have probably Bray Wyatt right now is my WWE Undisputed Champion. Why? Because he's kind of a damn good promo. He could wrestle a damn good match, for example, against Daniel Bryan and John Cena. And the crowd likes him. He's very popular with the crowd. He's kind of like a tweener character too, which I like the tweener character. Like when you got a heel, but the crowd likes him, so they start cheering for him. And I think that's awesome. Like when there's a heel, and the crowd starts liking them and cheering for them, and they just turn babyface. Like the Shield is a good example, I think, of a faction that the crowd sort of turned face. The WWE did take a part in that, but I think the fans were a big part in the Shield turning face. I think it's cool when somebody could, like Daniel Bryan, naturally turning babyface. That's so cool. I think that's awesome when a guy naturally turns face, or naturally turns, it's mostly a natural face turn as opposed to a heel turn. But I think that's really cool. So I would sort of do that, naturally turn him face, and when the crowd starts cheering for him, you could slowly make him do better things, more moral things to make him more popular with the crowd. That's what I would do, at least. So Bray Wyatt would be my champion. World Heavyweight Champion would be Cesaro. Why? Because he's a fucking strong motherfucker. He's so fucking strong. He doesn't look strong, but he's a fucking specimen. He could lift guys up like nobody's business. He's just a beast, plain and simple. Promo skills, I don't know, but I would definitely have kept him with Heyman for the time being, because I don't know his promo skills or whatever. Kept him with Heyman, would have looked good, with him and Heyman, but unfortunately they broke him up and they fucked it up with Heyman. But that's what I would do. Why? Again, good wrestler, and very good wrestler in Cesaro. Very good promo guy in Heyman, and a lot of people do like him. Intercontinental Champion, I would probably have Kenta. I said this before. My idea was to have Kenta win the Intercontinental Championship at when B&B Bad News Barrett got hurt. They had didn't they have like some kind of open championship tournament or whatever? I would have had Kenta win the IC belt instead of Miz or whatever. I would have had Kenta win, become the champion or whatever. And then, I don't know if he's good or not, but he looks pretty decent. At least better than some of the guys like Orton on the roster. So I would have put him with the belt, build him up. Excuse me there, I had some pizza tonight. Got a little bit of some burpage going on, but anyway, put him with Kenta, put the belt with Kenta, and we could go from there. Why? Because There was a lot of buzz over his signing. I mean, he's a pretty popular in Japan. And I looked over his like top 70 moves or whatever, and he didn't seem like a bad wrestler at all. He's again a lot better than like a Randy Orton. So I would have definitely have done it, took a chance, and it probably would have paid off. U.S. Champion, probably Sandow maybe. Yeah, probably Damian Sandow. I still don't think he's great yet. I still think he has a little bit to go because he needs to develop some more wrestling skills, I think, before he gets great. Before he could go to the, but I think he's got a good fucking future in the WWE if they built him up right. So I'd make Sandow my U.S. champion. He's definitely a talented guy. Can cut a fucking promo. He's funny with the Miz or whatever. And why? Because I think he's got a really good promo. He's not a horrible wrestler. I think he can get better in the ring, and he's popular with the crowd right now. So I would make him my U.S. champion. And you might say, oh, how about Ziggler? Well, my plan would be for Ziggler to actually be in the main event. Competing for a title belt. I might. They may say, oh, Ruthless Randy, you like these guys, but why aren't they there on your list? Well, some guys are going to, in my world, would be competing for a top spot, so I'm not going to include him on this list because this guy only has me to do the champions, and why. So, there you go. Tag team champions, I'll probably give it to the Wyatt family, and that would be cool, give the belts to the Wyatt family, give the WWE Championship to Bray Wyatt, and sort of have him build up this big, powerful faction in the company. Because the Shield had they had three, they had the Tag Team Championships and the United States Championships. Well, now the Wyatts could have the WWE Championships and the Tag Team Championships, and just build up this faction. And you could have Bray Wyatt be the champion for a while, not just a month or two. Build up this powerful faction. That would be so cool, and maybe that could lead to their breakup, and you could just go from so many directions from there. So yeah, and why? Because again, they're popular with the crowd, and it just works with Bray Wyatt being WWE champion. It would just work. Divas champion, I would probably give it to Natalya since she deserves it. I mean, she's fucking a really good wrestler. She's wrestled some really good matches in NXT. And she deserves it too. She hasn't been champion. All we've seen is the people who have been champion in the past year or two have been AJ and Paige, if I'm correct. I don't think, just AJ and Paige in the last 2 years or year and a half have been champions. So I'll definitely give it to Natalya. Change something up in this company because the current Divas division is not really working right now. It's boring as fuck pretty much. I don't give a shit. Give it to Natalya. Give it to somebody who can actually wrestle. And again, why would I give it? Because she's a good wrestler. She's got heart, blood in her, which I'm not saying that's why she should get it, but I mean, she wrestles like a fucking, I shouldn't even have said that. I mean, just because you have a family member in the company doesn't mean you should get pushed. So I take that back, people. But she's a good wrestler, and I mean, that's better than she's a really good wrestler. Actually, that's more than you could say for most of the divas in the company. So definitely would put Natalya as the WWE Divas Champion. I think that's all the belts, right? Yep, that's all the belts. You do have an NXT Championship there in NXT. I don't know I haven't been watching NXT, so I'm not gonna comment on that. But yeah, there's your champions there. And why I would make them champions is the GM or the head of creative, whatever. But there you go, people. If you have a requested video, don't hesitate to ask at WWE Heel Punk. Let me say that again. I feel like I babbled that or rushed it. At WWE Heel Punk. That sounded better. Or you could comment on YouTube, and I will see it. If I don't say okay, if you comment, can you do a review of WrestleMania 30 or whatever, or can you do a review of WrestleMania 29, and I don't comment on it, comment back on me, because if you ask me to do a video, and I will say, okay, I will do that, or sure, I will confirm that I will do that video in the future. And again, I get a lot of requested videos. I got fucking 6 pay-per-view requests, I write them down on note cards to do. So I mean, it's gonna take me a while to get all these pay-per-view requests. a little behind. I mean, I'm getting more than I could fucking watch. So but I will get to them eventually, people. Don't worry. The Ruthless Rainer will get to the pay-per-view reviews. So but again, don't hesitate to ask for me to do a video, whether it could be other than wrestling. It could be wrestling, sports, politics, pop culture, people, whatever, social issues, whatever. So don't hesitate to ask. I'm always willing to take requests. I like to get requested videos because then I'm doing what you guys want me to do. So I like when you request me to do videos because I feel I'm doing what you want me to do as opposed to what I want to do. And while I like talking about what I want, I always like talking about what other people want me to talk about too. So there you fucking go, people.